Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. On page 178, we'll begin with name number 901. Om Bhu Swaha. Om Va Swaha. Om Swa Swaha. Om Bhurva Swa Swaha. Om Rudraye Swaha. Om Rudra Lupaye Swaha. Om Rudrayaki Swaha. Om Rudrarpi Nathinyaki Swaha. Om Rakapriyayaki Swaha. Om Ratmastrayaki Swaha. Om Ratakshye Swaha. Om Rakalochanayaki Swaha. Om Rakakeshri Swaha. Om Rakadangshrayaki Swaha. Om Rakachandana Charchitayaki Swaha. Om Rakamyaki Swaha. Om Rakabhushayaki Swaha. Om Rakabijam Nipatinyaki Swaha. Om Rakavidosha Ratidayaki Swaha. Om Ratijayaki Swaha. Om Ratidayaki Swaha. Om Vishveshwarayaki Swaha. Om Vishalakshmi Swaha. Om Vidyapita Nivasinyaki Swaha. Om Vishwarupe Swaha. Om Viravidyayaki Swaha. Om Virasave Swaha. Om Viranandiyaki Swaha. Om Vireshwaryaki Swaha. Om Vishalakshmi Swaha. Om Vishnamaya Vimohinyaki Swaha. Om Vidyatyaki Swaha. Om Vishnurupayaki Swaha. Om Vishalanaya Notpalayaki Swaha. Om Vishnumatre Swaha. Om Vishwadvane Swaha. Om Vishnajaya Swarupinyaki Swaha. Om Brahmeshwari Swaha. Om Brahmadayaki Swaha. Om Brahmyaki Swaha. Om Brahmanyaki Swaha. Om Brahmarupinyaki Swaha. Om Brahmeshwari Swaha. Om Dvarakayaki Swaha. Om Vishwandhyayaki Swaha. Om Vishwapashari Bhochamyaki Swaha. Om Vishwasakarinyaki Swaha. Om Vishwabayaki Swaha. Om Vishakirtiyaki Swaha. Om Vishakshanayaki Swaha. Om Panachapadarayaki Swaha. Om Virayaki Swaha. Om Vindustayaki Swaha. Om Virkumalinyaki Swaha. Om Chakrapravinyaki Swaha. Om Shorayaki Swaha. Om Shorashara Nivasinyaki Swaha. Om Shiktikanta Priyayaki Swaha. Om Shantayaki Swaha. Om Shapinyaki Swaha. Om Bhagarupinyaki Swaha. Om Shashwati Swaha. Om Shambhurindikayaki Swaha. Om Shambhavyaki Swaha. Om Shivarupinyaki Swaha. Om Shivamatre Swaha. Om Shivandayaki Swaha. Om Shivayaki Swaha. Om Shivahidasanayaki Swaha. Om Shulamparayaki Swaha. Om Sitalayaki Swaha. Om Silayaki Swaha. Om Shilapradayaki Swaha. Om Shilkapriyayaki Swaha. Om Vaidyavidyayaki Swaha. Om Shalagrama Silayaki Swaha. Om Sutaye Swaha. Om Haripriyayaki Swaha. Om Haribhurti Swaha. Om Harinetra Pithalayaki Swaha. Om Haripoprodvapayaki Swaha. Om Alayaki Swaha. Om Vakshasthalasthitayaki Swaha. Om Shamikarayaki Swaha. Om Chityaye Swaha. Om Chitrayaki Swaha. Om Chitasya Bhapurinyaki Swaha. Om Vaishyayaki Swaha. Om Kshatriyayaki Swaha. Om Judrayaki Swaha. Om Satriyanam Kudeshwarayaki Swaha. Om Harapananpati Swaha. Om Hararadrandyayaki Swaha. Om Harasubhe Swaha. Om Hararupinyaki Swaha. Om Sarvanandamayaki Swaha. Om Anandamayaki Swaha. Om Siddhyaye Swaha. Sarvarakshat Swaruphinya ki swaha, Sarvadushta Prashamanya ki swaha, Sarvesvara Palapradaya ki swaha, Sarvasiddheshvara Radhya ki swaha, Amishvara Dhyaya ki swaha, Sarva Mangala Mangalyaya ki swaha. Om Namah Iti Sri Annapurna Sahasranamavali Samapaha Swaha. Om Bhu Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha, Om Swaha Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha Swaha. Let's continue and recite the Sri Annapurna Stotram by Shankaracharya on page 195. Nityananda Kori, Porapaya Kori, Sundarya Ratnakari, Nirduta Kila Gora Pavana Kori, Pratyaksha Maheshwari, Palayachala Sambamsha Pavana Kori, Kashipura Ishwari, Bichamdevi Kripavalambana Kori, Mata Annapurneshwari. Nana Ratna Vichitra Bhushana Kori, Hema Bhava Dambari, Muktahara Vilamba Vanam Vasila Devachocha Kumbantari, Kashmir Aguru Basita Ruchira Kori, Kashipura Dishwari, Biksham Dehi Pipambalambana Kori, Mata Annapurneshwari. Yogananda Kori, Rikuchaya Kori, Dharmartha Nishtakari, Chandrakananda Basana Malahori, Trilokya Pakshakari, Sarvashvaja Samasta Vanchita Kori, Kashi Puratishwari, Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori, Mata Annapurneshwari. Kailasacha Lakandaraloya Kori Kori Uma Shankari Kumari Nirgamarta Gochara Kori Omkara Bijakshari Mokshanvara Pukapatana Patana Kori Kashipura Dishwari Diksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari Drishya Drishya Prabhu Tabandana Kori Ramanda Pandodari Lila Lataka Sutra Bidana Kori Bigana Dipankari Shiva Bashwait Shamana Prasadana Kori Kashipura Dishwari Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari Urvi Sarvajaneshwari Bhagavati Mata Annapurneshwari Beni Nila Sisamanta Kundala Hori Nityananda Deshwari Sarvananda Kori Rashashubha Kori Kashipuratishwari Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari Adikshanta Samasabandana Kori Shambhu Esasri Babakari Kashmira Tri Janeshwari Tri Lahori Nityandura Shabari Kamankaskashakori Janodoya Kori Kashipura Dishwari Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari Devi Sarva Vichitra Ratna Prachita Daksha Kare Samstita Bhamaswadupa Yodari Sakachori Subhagya Maheshwari Bhakta Vishnu Kori Krishna Shubha Kori Kashipura Dishwari Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari Chandrakana Koti Koti Sadrisha Chandram Shubhim Bhadri Chandrakarni Samana Kundala Hori Chandraka Bhadreshwari Manapustaka Pasham Bhushadori Kashipura Dishwari Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari Chaturanga Kori Mahapoya Kori Mata Kripa Sagari Saksha Moksha Kori Sadashiva Kori Vishweshwari Sridhari Dakshakranta Kori Niramoya Kori Kashipura Vishwari Biksham Dehi Kripavalambana Kori Mata Annapurneshwari, Annapurne Sanapurne, Shankara Prana Balabe, Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham Bhiksham Dehi Chaparvati, Mata Chaparvati Devi, Pita Devo Bhakteshwara, Bamdava Shiva Bhaktasya, Swadesho Bhuvanatrakam, Iti Srimad Shankaracharya Virachata Sri Annapurna Stotram Samapta. And now let's recite Annapurna Stotram Stotram. That means the 108 names. Ashta Shata. Omasya Sri Annapurna Stotram Stotram Mahamantrasya Brahmarishi Anishtandaha Sri Annapurneshwari Devata Swadabhijam Swaha Shakti Om Kilakam Sarva Vishnu Prasada Siddharte Japi Vidyoga Om Annapurna Shiva Devi Bhima Pushtir Saraswati Sarvagya Parvati Durga Sarvami Siva Pallava Vidya Vidya Mahavidya Vidya Datri Visagata Kumari Tripura Bala Lakshmi Sri Harini Pavani Vishnu Janani Pramadi Janani Tada Janesha Janani Sakti Kumara Janani Shubha Bhokrata Bhagavati Bhakta Vishnu Padayini Bhavaroka Tarabhavya Shubra Paramamangala Pavani Chanchala Gauri Charu Chandra Kaladara Vishma Lakshmi Vishwanatha Vishwabandya Visvahitini Aya Hekashkastana Nilaya Rudrana Kasmalasana Shubhaprada Shubhavarta Amrita Pina Payodara Amba Sandhara Matini Ritani Sarva Mangala Vishnu Sansevita Siddha Pramani Sura Sevita Paramananda Dasakti Sati Paramananda Rupini Paramananda Janani Paramananda Pradayini Paropakara Nirata Parama Bhattavatsala Purva Chandra Bhavandana Purna Chandra Nipangshuka Shubha Lakshana Sampana Shubha Nanda Gunarnava Shubha Shobhakya Nilaya Shubha Dacharvati Priya Chondika Chandamakani Chandadarpani Parini Markanda Nayanasati Chanda Nayanasati Pundarika Rapurna Purjata Punjarupini Maya Pita Shrestha Mayam Shrestha Dharma Bhavandita Asrishti Sarasradritam Srishti Etu Kapardini Brisharura Shula Sasta Sristiti Sakarakarini Mandasvita Skandamata Shuddha Chitta Manustita Mahabhagavati Daksha Dakshadwara Nipasini Sarvarta Datri Savitri Sadashiva Kutumbini Nitya Sundara Sarvani Satchidananda Lakshanam Namnamastotra Shatanam Abhaya Punyakarinam Sarvasubhagya Siddhartam Japaniyam Pratyatatam Idam Chapadi Karastu Praname Bhaktatastutam Abhagati Madrindam Pratyakancha Yatakramam Kartavyantarpanandidam Pitamantreti Mulabhat Tatanmatreti Hometi Kartavyeswati Malapat Etani Divyam Namani Srutvadyatani Rantaram Stutva Divincha Satatam Sarvakamana Prapnuyat Om Iti Sri Brahmande Kande Uttarakande Agama Pratyatita Shiva Rahasye Annapurna Stotram Stotram Samaptam Om Namaste. Om Sang Saraswati Namaha. Let's begin on page 178 with name number 901. she who takes away the tears. And that means all sadness. She was the form of he who takes away the tears. She who is fearful. She who destroys the enemies of he who takes away the tears. Rudra actually means through tears. Trayate, who takes them away. And Rudra is he who takes away the tears, or the reliever of all suffering, the reliever of all sadness. She who is the beloved of passion. In fact, all of our passion is directed towards her. Now, we get passionate about loving God. She who wears red. And a bastra, of course, is a cloth, a red garment. So she's rocked the bastrayi. She's who's dressed and clothed, adorned in red clothing. She who has red eyes. Sometimes she gets angry with us. She who has red eyes again. She who has red hair. She who has red teeth. She who wears red sandal paste. She who has red limbs. She's a well-read lady. She who shines with red. She who drinks the seeds of desire, the Raktabija. Remember, the seed of desire won the boom. Every time a drop of his desire touched the ground, a new desire would be born immediately, with the same capacity to captivate the mind. And she drinks them all up. She who controls anger and other faults, all those doshas, she controls those faults. She who has conquered spring, and spring, of course, is the wife of love. And so when Rati and Kamdev come to attack, she conquers the spring and she makes it mild, benevolent to us. And she who gives the spring, she puts a little spring in her step as well. She was the supreme Lord of the universe. She who has big eyes, she resides in the pilgrimage place of the knowledge that bestows humility. Vidya has several levels of meaning. Vid, to know. She gives the knowledge, and Vidya was the mountain who bowed down in humility to Agastya Muni. And so it's the knowledge. Satya, Vidya, Vinoy, Bhavati. And true knowledge bestows humility. It inspires humility. If you have true knowledge, you become humble. And also bind, it comes from bindu. So it's the knowledge which takes you into the bindu. So she resides in the pilgrimage place of the knowledge that bestows the humility which is required for us to unite in complete union and communion in the bindu. Union with God. She who is the being of the universe. She who is the knowledge of heroism. And remember, we have three bhavas in every individual. A Pashu bhav, who is responding to the lower chakras. Virya bhav, who is striving to attain spiritual life. And Divya bhav, who has already arrived. And so now here she's got the heroism to continually pursue the battle. She is the knowledge of heroism. She is the excellent heroism. She is the bliss of heroism. She is the supreme lord of heroes. She who has big eyes. And that's because she sees everything, everywhere. There's nowhere to hide. And believe me, I've tried. If any of you find a place to hide, please send me an email. I'll immediately come and explore. She who is mesmerized by Vishnu's Maya, and that's all of us. She who is knowledge. She who is the form of Vishnu. She who has great eyes, whose great eyes see above. She who is the mother of Vishnu. She who is the soul of the universe. She was the intrinsic nature that gives birth to Vishnu. Remember, she came in three forms. The Divine Mother came as Sattarupa, the wife of Swayambhu Manu, who gave birth to all the perceivable universe. She came as Aditi. She came who is the mother of the gods. And then she came as Kaushalya, the mother of Ram. And she came as Devaki, the mother of Krishna, and she is the intrinsic nature that gives birth to Vishnu. And in so many ways, Vishnu comes forth from her being. She who is the supreme Lord of the supreme divinity. She who is the giver of supreme divinity. She who is the energy of supreme divinity. She who knows the intrinsic nature. And what is the intrinsic nature? Every atom of existence has its own intrinsic nature, its swabhav, its own destiny, its own sanskara, its own intelligence, where it's going to become something different than what it is, and that is the intrinsic nature, and she knows the intrinsic nature of the universe. She who is the intrinsic nature of supreme divinity, she who is the supreme ruler of supreme divinity, she who is in Dwarka. Remember, Krishna went to Dwarka and he took along with him 10,008 wives. He really got around. So she was in Dwarka, especially in the form of Rukmani. She was worshipped by the universe, and of course every form within the universe is a form of her doing puja to her for her delight. She who destroys the bonds of the universe, she who is the cause of the universe, she who is the universe, she who is the most famous in the universe, she who perceives clearly. She who holds a bow and arrows. She who is a hero. She who is situated in the bindu. She who cultivates the bindu. She who pierces the 6 centers of energy. She who is the 16. Remember, ka, e, ha, ka, e, la, rim, ha, sa, ka, ha, la, rim, sa, ka, la, rim. And that's the 16, the Kahali Vidya. She who dwells in the 16, she who is the beloved of the one with the dark throat, that's Shiva. She's the beloved of Shiva. She who is peace. She who is internal peace. She who is the intrinsic nature of wind. And remember, no one stops the wind. It's totally emancipated. It goes where it wants. She is the intrinsic nature of pure emancipation. She who is eternal. She who is the humility of Shambhu. And Shambhu, of course, is the name of Shiva, and whose being is at peace, is Shambhu. She who radiates peace. She who is the intrinsic nature of Shiva. And remember, if it's Shiva Rupa, it is he who is the form of Shiva, and Shiva Rupini, it is the intrinsic nature of the form of Shiva. She is the mother of Shiva. She who is the giver of Shiva. She who is the energy of Shiva. She who sits in the heart of Shiva. She who is clothed in light colors. Often she wears yellow with red borders. She who is cool. And believe me, she is really cool. She who is firm. She who gives firmness. She who is the beloved of parrots. In fact, they all love to sing to her. In addition, all the chattering that we do, like parrots singing to mother. She was the knowledge of healing. She was the stone that represents Vishnu. That's a salagram. It comes from the Narmada River, especially in the regions of Omkareshwar and Mamaleshwar. You'll find the Shalagram Shila. It's like a Shiva Lingam, except it's a little rounder, and it's used in the worship of Vishnu. She who is purity. She who is the beloved of Hori. And remember, Ha means the gross body, Ra means the subtle body, E means the causal body. Hori is the name of Vishnu, and he who embodies the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body is Hori. She who is the image that takes away. She who opens and closes the eyes of God. She who is the attitude of the words of God. She who destroys. She who is situated in the breast of God. She who is prosperous. She who is the earth. She who is the field. She who fills the hungry. She who engages in business. She who administrates and defends the people. She who serves the people. She who is the supreme ruler of a family of defenders. She who is the wife of Shiva. She who is pleased by Shiva. Excuse me. She whose being is in Shiva. She who is the form of who takes away. She who is the manifestation of all bliss. She who is the manifestation of bliss. She who is attainment. She who is the intrinsic nature of all protection. She who is the destroyer of all evil. She who is the giver of all fruits. She who is pleased by the supreme Lord of all. She who is studied by supreme divinity. She who is all the welfare of all the welfare. Om. We bow to the completion. And that ends the 1,000 names of the respected Goddess Annapurna. Now, let's begin our study of the Annapurna Stotram written by Sri Shankaracharya. You are the cause of eternal bliss. You grant the boon of freedom from fear. You give the most beautiful jewels. You are unshaken. You purify the great sins of humanity. You are the actual perceivable form of the great goddess. In the great dissolution, you purify the family of the mountain. Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms, Supreme Goddess, Mother Annapurna. And as alms, I want nourishment in order to achieve the fullest extent of Gyan and Vairagya, of wisdom and renunciation. You are dressed in various jewels and ornaments, wearing a golden cloth. A necklace of pearls adorns your breast. The beautiful fragrance of Kashmir musk emanates from you. Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi. Remember, the city of light, the city of the cause of consciousness to manifest in the perfection of peace. Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms, Supreme Goddess, Mother Annapurna. That's why we're going to Kashi, to the city which is the cause of consciousness, achieving the greatest peace in the causal body, becoming absorbed in the causal body of peace. You give the bliss of union. You destroy all limitations and inspire sincerity in Dharma, the ideal of perfection, and Artha, the materials necessary to attaining the ideal. The moon, the sun, and fire illuminate you who protects the three worlds. Without a doubt, you grant all that is imperishable. Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme Goddess, Mother Annapurna. You dwell in the cave upon Mount Kailash and are called she who is rays of light. Mother of existence, cause of peace and ever pure one, you make known the hidden meanings of the Bij letter Om. You open the doors to liberation, Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi. Be gracious without delay and grant me alms, Supreme Goddess, Mother Annapurna. You are the supreme Lord of the perceivable and imperceivable world, of the entire creation and all phenomena within. You bind all beings in the drama of the divine play. You illuminate the light of knowledge and distribute the prasad of the respected universal mind. Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme Goddess Mother Annapurna. Goddess of all existence, supreme ruler of all beings born, supreme Goddess Mother Annapurna, your braids of hair appear to be dark blue, O supreme Goddess who gives eternal delight. You cause all bliss and make destiny propitious. Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme Goddess Mother Annapurna. You create all the letters from the beginning all to the end Chaw. And I'm sure Srini has this in his Sanskrit class. You are the three attitudes of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. You are saffron colored, the supreme goddess of the beings of the three worlds, causing the three waves of creation, preservation, and destruction. You eternally create and dissolve, fulfilling all desires, raising all beings. Supreme Goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme Goddess, Mother Annapurna. Goddess, in your right hand is a golden ladle adorned with various kinds of jewels, and in your left hand is a vessel full of delicious porridge. You are the supreme goddess of good fortune. You fulfill the desires of devotees and make destiny propitious. Supreme goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme goddess Mother Annapurna. Your radiance is perceived with the illumination of millions of suns and moons and fires. You display a small portion of the moon. Your earrings shine like the moon, sun, and fire. You are the supreme goddess of the moon, sun, and fire. You hold in your hands a mala, a book, a net, and a curved sword. Supreme goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme goddess Mother Annapurna. You protect the protectors, grant freedom from fear. O Mother Ocean of Grace, you are the actual grantor of liberation, the cause of the eternal Siva, the supreme goddess of the universe, giver of the highest respect. You make Daksha lament. You destroy all ills. Remember when Daksha was so sorry and she destroyed his sacrifice? He was so apologetic after that. Supreme goddess of the city of Kashi, be gracious without delay and grant me alms. Supreme goddess Mother Annapurna. O Annapurna, she who is always full, complete, and perfect, beloved energy of Lord Siva, for the attainment of perfection in wisdom and renunciation, give me alms, Parvati. My mother is the goddess Parvati, my father is the supreme Lord Maheshwar, my relatives are the devotees of Lord Shiva, and the three worlds are my motherland. And that is the end of the song about Annapurna written by Shankaracharya. And now we're going to read the meaning of the 108 names. Dum-da-dum, tha, asya, presenting the song of great mantras of 108 names of the respected Annapurna. Brahma is the seer, Anushtup is the meter, 32 syllables to the verse. The respected supreme goddess Annapurna is the deity. Shwada, praise of the ancestors, is the seed. Swaha, union with the gods, is the energy. Om is the pin for the attainment of the fulfillment of my objective. This recitation is being applied. She was full, complete, and perfect with food and grains, granting nourishment. She was the energy of the consciousness of infinite goodness. She was the goddess. She who is terribly fearful. She who gives nourishment. She who is eternal. She who knows all. She was the daughter of the mountain. She who is the reliever of difficulty. She who belongs to all. She who is the strength of Siva. She who knows all knowledge, she who is the great knowledge, she who is the granter of knowledge, she who is mature, she who is the ever pure one, also ever young. She who dwells in the three cities, she who is strength, she who is the ultimate goal. She who is respect, she who takes away all fear, she who is manifested existence, she who is the mother of Vishnu, she who is the mother of Brahma and the other gods, she who is the mother of Ganesh, she who is energy, she who is the mother of Kartikeya, she who is pure, she who gives enjoyment, she who is the supreme goddess, she who gives the desired result to devotees, she who takes away all disease from the world. She who is the attitude of being, she who manifests purity, she who is the supreme wealth, she who is being, she who is restless. She who is rays of light, she who supports the attributes of the dark moon. She who has big eyes, she who is the mother of the universe, she who is praised by the universe, she who is desired. She who is purified by knowledge, she who rests in welfare, she who takes away the tears, she who sits upon a lotus, she who grants purity, she who distributes purity, she who shows swelling breasts overflowing with milk. She who is the mother, she who churns the ocean of objects and relationships, she who is compassionate, she who is all welfare, she who is served by Vishnu, she who has attainment, she who is the creative energy, she who is served by the gods. She who gives the supreme bliss, she who is peace, she who is the intrinsic nature of the supreme bliss. She who is the mother of the supreme bliss, she who is an outsider, she who is the giver of bliss. She who is always benefiting others, she who is the supreme manifestation, she who is a pure devotee, she who is radiance of the full moon over existence, she who is the pure reflection of the full moon, she who displays all of the pure characteristics, she who contains the ocean of purely blissful qualities, she who reposes in purely good fortune, she who is the giver of purity, she who is the beloved of spring. She who tears apart all thought, she who destroys passion, she who destroys the pride of passion, she who is the eyes of the sun, she who manifests truth and efficiency, she whose two eyes are the moon and fire, she who is true existence. She who is the cause of Vishnu, she who is full, complete, and perfect, she who is the giver of merit, she who is the intrinsic nature of merit, she who is beyond Maya. She who is the ultimate illusion, she who is the ultimate ideal of perfection, she who is the praise of the soul. She who is not created, she who brings all together in unity, she who motivates the creation, she who holds a skull, she who sits upon a bull, she who holds a spear in her hand, she who is the cause of creation and dissolution. She who limits laziness, she who is the mother of Kartikeya, she who is pure consciousness, she who is praised by the wise, she who is the great supreme goddess, she who has ability, she who destroyed the activities performed by Daksh. She who is the creator of all objects, she who is the daughter of the light, she who is the family of the pure consciousness of infinite goodness, she whose every limb is eternally beautiful, she who has the character of pure existence, consciousness, and bliss. These are the 108 names which are the source of great merit. Whoever will recite these names with sincerity will be blessed with all good fortune. Whoever will recite with their life force, with a concentrated mind, with their full prana, like they mean it, the songs of the goddess, and invite her with the appropriate mantras according to the proper method, that's called puja, and perform the required offerings to the ancestors and forefathers along with the mantras, and then offer the mantras of the sacred fire ceremony, will fill his or her consciousness with attentive perception. There's no way that you can do all of that without having attentive perception. These are the divine names which are to be eternally listened to and contemplated and meditated upon. Whoever will always sing them will attain the fulfillment of all desires, and thus ends the divine last section of the secret of the Shiva Agama, called the Song of 100 Names of Annapurna. Oh. Let's see if there are any questions. Yes, please.
Swamiji, I have a question on name number 946.
Yes.
On page 185. She who perceives clearly. Now, my question is, how does our path, our sadhana, relate to this perceiving clearly? And are there any milestones that we can observe in terms of how our perception changes as our sadhana progresses?
Well, you remember in chapter 6 of the Chandi, where we confront Dhumralochan. We call him sinful eyes, but the Dhum is the smoke, or what obscures perception. It's the smoke screen of selfishness and only thinking about our own selves. And Dhumralochan, who perceives with obscurity, or who causes obscurity to cloud our perception, is the antithesis of she who perceives clearly. So, when we feel ourselves divesting ourselves of that sinful eyes, of that selfish attachment, when we see that we're looking for a greater good for more people, in our every action, we know that we're perceiving a little more clearly each time we do so. And that's how we find her in our sadhana, that's how we find her in our lives, when we can perceive without attachment, we perceive without judgment, we perceive without casting our opinions upon the object of perception. We perceive what is rather than what we wish it were. Then we perceive clearly. And that's the objective, and that the object of all of our sadhana is to divest ourselves of this selfish attachment and divest ourselves of these sinful eyes that obscure my perception. They cause me to impose my subjective opinion upon everything that I perceive. So I never see what is, I only see what I wish it were. And as we see ourselves watching our action and interaction with the world with greater clarity, with greater objectivity, with greater love, with greater sensitivity, with greater consideration for the multitude, then we find ourselves perceiving clearly. Are there other questions, please?
Swamiji, question from Ambika from New Jersey.
Namaste, Ambika ma.
Sometimes a name is repeated. Does this mean we should give extra thought to the meaning of that particular name?
It means that it comes again and again in our lives. So when it comes again, you'll think about it. And when it comes again, you'll think about it again. And when it comes again, you'll know it intimately. Yes, so there are many names that are repeated over and over again. They do get special emphasis, special consideration.
Question from Nanda from San Jose.
Namaste, Nandama.
Pranam Swamiji, can you please tell us what is the pitfall of doing sadhana without doing any seva to the Guru?
Oh! Well, we talked about it in the Ishopanishad, Nandama. We said by meditation we overcome death, and by work in the world or seva to the Guru we achieve immortality. They're both sides of the same coin. If we only pursue a life of meditation, we're not going to be successful. There is no success in only pursuing a life of meditation. Vivekananda went to Ramakrishna and he said, Thakur, now that I've seen her in meditation. All I want to do is meditate. I just want to sit there with my eyes closed and look at her all the time. And Ramakrishna said, dummy kid, what do you know? You got to close your eyes to see God? Well, you got to see her with your eyes open. The object isn't to see her only with your eyes closed. You got to see her everywhere. So it's about a balance and a harmony and a joy of life. We get the privilege of seeing her when we close our eyes. We get the privilege of serving her when we open our eyes. Both are true, both are facts of our lives.
Question from a morning song from Santa Rosa.
Namaste, morning song.
Namaste Swamiji. Although I'm certain that every day is a good day to worship Ma Annapurna, is there a day of the week that is particularly auspicious? Thank you.
Morning song, every time you eat is auspicious to worship Annapurna. However, on the 8th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Chaitra, there is a special puja for Annapurna. I'm sure we have it posted on our website someplace. And there's a special festival of Annapurna in Chaitra Shukla Ashtami. And also we worship Annapurna on Ashwin Shukla Ashtami as well. When we break the fast of Navaratri on the night after the 8th day of worship, we get to eat. And we worship Annapurna before we do so. Those are two special times.
Question from Nanda.
Yes, Nanda.
Please, can you explain the significance of the Swadha Bijam in the 108 names? I thought Swadha meant oblations to the dead from chapter 1 of the Chandi.
It does. Swa means your own, and Da means support. Whoever supports our own source of support. It's an offering to our ancestors. We are recognizing you as the lineage through which we've come to where we've come. And look we're in a good place with good company, doing good things, and I'm proud of what we're doing, and I appreciate being here, and I want to turn to my lineage who prepared the way for me and say, hey, thanks a lot. You brought us to a good place with good understanding so that we're enjoying satsang. And that's why we're observing Swadha.
Question from Kumari from Valley Hill.
Namaste, Kumari Ma.
Pranam Swamiji, is bhakti or divine love an effective way to slow down thoughts and attain silence of mind?
It is the only way. Sorry. But it is the only way. You can't pay attention unless you're in love. You only pay attention to the extent that you're devoted to the object of your awareness. We pay attention to the things that we love, and when we love it a lot, we pay a lot of attention. And we love it a little bit, we listen with one ear and we look out the window. What's that Swami blabbering about now? We don't get it. But when you're in love, you gotta pay attention. And the only way to learn is to be in love with what you're learning. And then you pay attention to it. And that bhakti is the path, and it is the destination. Both are true. It is the way of our learning, it is the way of our perceiving, it's the way of our paying attention. And it is the ultimate of wisdom. Be so much in love that you can't even think of me as a lover. You only can think of beloved.
Swamiji, question from Kumari. Why should the Divine Mother be afraid of anything? In name number 854 is Mahaghorai Swaha, she who is very fearful.
Well, she's fearful to us when we look at her, because we can't find an end to her. I mean, she's beyond all limitations. So her appearance is dreadful. It's terrible. It's fearful. It's Bhayankar. It's Mahagora. Oh, this is Mahagora. And in that way, she instills fear within us because, hey, how do you relate to somebody who has no boundaries? She has no definition. How do you relate to her? It's imposing to the greatest extent.
Question from Ambika. I'm thinking that it might be nice to create a small altar to Annapurna in my kitchen.
Absolutely! Did you see Mom's altar to Annapurna above the stove? In both kitchens. Yes, please do.
She's asking if you can please suggest what to do.
Yes, when we're in Benares, we'll procure for you one very nice deity, a form of Annapurna who can have a little altar above your kitchen, in your kitchen, and you can just look up and remember her. As you're cooking, you can sing to her. As you're offering your food to her, you can offer it right there on the stove. Many things you could learn these 108 names. You could sing this Annapurna Stotram.
Swamiji, in the 108 names of Annapurna,
yes, please.
Name number 52 says, she who churns the ocean of objects and relationships.
Yes, Samsara Samudra. She churns it. Remember when at the beginning of creation, the gods and the demons wanted the nectar of immortal bliss, and they churned the milk ocean. She gives churning and makes our minds work. She gives churning to the ocean. So yes, she is the one who this samudra is the ocean of samsara. And that's how she makes this world of duality appear. Yes, please.
Swamiji, in name number 940, she who is in Dwaraka.
Yes.
And if you look at the word itself, Dwa is a duality or a two, Ra is the heart or the subtle body,
right,
and Ka is the cause.
Okay.
So it's a cause of duality in the subtle body. So why would Krishna want to go to a place which creates duality in the mind?
Well, he exists there because he is the deity and I am the worshipper. So there is where the duality is. The Atma and the Paramatma are separate. And I am privileged to worship. How can I have devotion if there's only one? He goes to the place of duality so that we can give him our devotion. And then we get to, because of the duality, we are afforded the privilege to have the perception of the unity. Were it not for the duality, we could never see the unity. We would never know the unity. Were it not for the darkness, we would never know the light. And so we appreciate the duality and go to that place of duality, so that's where we come to unity.
Swamiji, name number 950.
Yes.
It says, Om Bindu Malinyai Swaha, she who cultivates the Bindu.
Yes.
Can you please, how does she cultivate, what does it mean that she cultivates, she is the Bindu?
She is the Bindu, she is what comes forth from the Bindu. She is the one who split the cosmic egg and made the Bindu crack and become Kamakala. She is the one, she cultivates that Bindu and makes it expand into this entire creation. And she cultivates the Bindu and makes the entire creation dissolve into the Bindu. So she is before the Bindu and she is after the Bindu and she is in the Bindu and she makes it grow. And in this way, she gets around.
Swamiji, a question.
Yes, please, Joy.
Swamiji, I'm not sure where it is, but it was she who's restless.
Yes.
Why does she become restless?
I don't know. You tell me. Do you ever become restless?
And yes.
And is she within you?
Yes.
Can you move without her?
No.
Is it really your restlessness?
No.
It's her restlessness. She who is restless.
Swamiji, a question from Ambi and the whole group. Namaste Swamiji, what is the one thing we should take away with us from this book?
Too many things to take away. But I would love to talk about the devotion to those who nourish. Because when we're attentive to receiving nourishment, and we cultivate that relationship with the source of nourishment, where do you get your nourishment? That is Annapurna. Your body, mind, and soul get nourished. There is Annapurna. She's nourishing you in various ways. And so now here we've got that we're cultivating this relationship with the source of our nourishment. We need strong bodies so we can do the sadhana, so we can have strong minds, so we can look within, so we can have a strong relationship with the soul within. And that's the source of our nourishment. That's this goddess Annapurna. That's the lady of Kashi, the goddess of the supreme goddess of the city of Kashi, the city of light, the city of the cause of consciousness to absorb, submerge itself in perfect peace, in the causal body of peace. She is giving us nourishment, this supreme goddess, Mata Annapurna. And if I were to speak about one aspect of nourishment, I would talk about the nourishment of our spiritual lives. Because we can pull up to McDonald's or Jack in the Box and get nourishment for our bodies. But you can't get a drive-through spiritual nourishment. You've got to dive deep in order to get the spiritual nourishment. And these 1,000 names of this book, this puja, this gives us an idea. Why do I want to study spirituality? What am I trying to take away from that study? What am I cultivating in this relationship between me and God? It's the nourishment of my soul. It's the nourishment of spiritual life in my family, in my household, in my temple, in my community, in my world. It's not about religion. It's about spiritual cultivation. And that's where I see Annapurna's primary nourishment. She nurtures us for the perfect attainment of wisdom and renunciation. How to be true spiritual beings, warriors, striving to control our lower emotions, our lower passions, and become one with that real spirit. And what we call spiritual is giving more than you take. It's just so easy in every circumstance. We look for the opportunity. Where can I be spiritual here? What can I give to this situation to make it better than it is? Even if there's some kind of loss for me, what do I have to give? What's the best thing that I can give to bring harmony to this situation? Om Sa Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.